All right. Well, it's good to have everybody back. It's been a little bit of a challenge getting the show on, but we are on tonight. How you guys doing?
Pretty good. How are you guys?
Doing good.
Good.
Doing
Doing well.
well. It looks like none of our teams are in this playoff that we're about to talk about tonight. But always hope springs eternal for next year, right, guys?
That's right. Hey, it's always next
Yep.
year.
Now I have to say that out of the three teams, I'd say Nebraska had the best season.
Had best year they've had in a while. So.
Yeah.
First bowl game since 2016. I'd say that.
Yep, definitely. And I would say that Houston had a better year than OU, seeing how we beat you guys, right?
Well, we found a way. It was not easy, but we found a way.
Just kidding. Yes, you did beat us.
We didn't have a very good one.
No doubt about it. True. It was a close one. We had our chances. We have no freaking offense. You realize? Did you just a little stat for you? The Houston Cougars were the worst offense in college football this season.
Really?
Yes.
Well, OU was one of the bottom 15. So
Wow.
and we saw it in that game.
They got shut out in 2 games and scored less than a touchdown in 4 games.
Yeah.
The worst offense in
And that's
college.
why our game was 17-12 or whatever it was.
Yeah, exactly. A little lower than that, I believe. But anyway, let's talk about some games that should be kind of high scoring. Let's start off with the Clemson and Texas game. Sooner, who do you got in this one?
I think Clemson has the athletes to keep up with them. The quarterback, Cade Klubnik, he's coming back home. Him and yours were rivals in high school. He's from that area. And I think that Texas will find a way to win, but I think it'll be a hard game. But they probably, I'm going to go with the home field, and they do find a way to win. I think maybe 31-24 or something like that. But I think it'll be a good game.
Wow, 31-24 is kind of high scoring there. What do you think, Kellen?
Yeah, I've got Texas on this one. Clemson, I mean, they've improved quite a bit, enough to get in the college football playoffs. But I just don't see where, piggybacking off what Sooner just said, I really don't see Clemson keeping up with Texas. I personally don't have Texas going far, but I do have.
No, I don't either.
Well, I'm with you. Kulik. I don't think this is going to be close. I think Texas runs all over Clemson, and I got to tell you, at the beginning of the year, I thought Texas was the team to beat, and then they got beat, and then they looked bad from there on out. But I think they will have no problem beating the Clemson Tigers. So I'm going to say somewhere around the neighborhood of like 30-14, something like that. I think it's not even close.
Yeah, both teams have had quarterbacks that late in the games that made mistakes. And if Clemson can get to where it's close, I mean, he makes some dumb plays sometimes. He almost cost that A&M game for him for those silly plays in the red zone.
Yep.
So it'll be what quarterback, but I think Texas is a little bit more consistent on defense, and they'll probably find a way.
Agreed.
I think it's going to be a 2-score game, but just I think I'm going 27-17.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, let's move on to a game that should be a little bit more competitive. What are we thinking about Tennessee, Ohio State? Kulik, who do you got in this one?
Yeah, I have Ohio State going on this one. I just don't think Tennessee has what it takes to take out Ohio State. In my opinion, Big Ten football is probably the best conference this year, this season. And Ohio State, I mean, close losses to Oregon, right? And they were competitive with Oregon. It was a heck of a game. I just don't see Tennessee bringing that same caliber to Ohio State, especially with Ohio State having that home field.
Okay, I hear you. What do you say, Mr. Sooner?
Well, What Michigan did to Ohio State, I still find mind-boggling. I don't know how they did it, but they did, because they looked way better for the rest of the year except that game. I do, real quick, have to say I don't think the committee – I don't think they did the seeding right. I think Penn State and Texas are too high, and I think Ohio State and Tennessee are too low. And I think Oregon having to get one of these teams in the second round was just wrong. But I think Tennessee will be the underdog, and I think the Fighting Josh Heupels go up to Columbus and they find a way to win. And
I agree with you.
The Buckeyes.
I agree with you 100%. I think Tennessee is a hell of a team. I think that they should have been seeded a little bit higher. When a team like Ohio State can lose like they lost, there's something wrong with them somewhere. And I don't think they just looked real good all year round. I mean, Nebraska played them really well, almost beat them. You know, I don't think they're as good. I think they're on reputation this year more than they are actually playing. And so I'm with you on Tennessee. And I don't know if it's going to be close. I think it might be maybe, somewhere in the neighborhood of 24-14, something like that.
Tennessee's front four is extremely talented and really deep, and they just shuffle 7-8 guys out of there. And if Ohio State's not able to run the ball and Will Howard has to start making the plays, I think he's going to throw some picks. And
I agree.
I just don't think Ohio State's going to run it very much on Tennessee. I think they'll look at that Michigan game and see what they did on defense, and they had more explosive on offense. And I just think Tennessee will find a way.
Cool. You were about to say something there, Cooley?
Yeah, I agree with that. I do think Tennessee has that depth, maybe more than Ohio State, but it's hard to go against Ohio State at home at the shoe. It's one of those things that they are electric and they will bring it and they will be fast paced. And the question is the fast pace gonna overcome the depth that Tennessee has? And that's why I chose Ohio State.
I hear you. No worries. All good.
Oh, they're both extremely talented. I won't be shocked at all if Ohio State wins. But I just, like you said, this is more of this should have been a second round game. This is not a first round.
Agreed. Even though 8 versus 9, it's still.
Yeah. They did if you notice, they made sure, except the real huge one, which to me is completely unfair. The only possible rematch would be Oregon, Ohio State. I think they kind of did that to make sure that didn't happen, which I don't think that's right. If you look at it, that's the only way there was going to be a repeat.
Yeah,
that is really not fair to Oregon because that's having to beat another really, really good team for a second time on a neutral field.
Yep. Cool. So let's go ahead on to the SMU Mustangs right down the road here in the great city of Dallas against Penn State. Penn State is not as good. I think Oregon proved that they were just not as good as we thought they were. So I might pull the upset here and go with SMU.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
That would be. I'd like to see that. But I do think it'll be a close one. I think it'll be a lot closer than people are thinking that it will be. But I'm gonna pull with Penn State here. I kind of like, SMU here. I kind of don't like Penn State. They don't seem to be all that good. As again another reputation kind of team in the playoffs here. But what you got, Sooner?
Well, I actually thought Penn State did pretty well against Oregon. I mean, it was pretty. They kept up with them and had some good plays.
Maybe that tells you right.
I really like SMU though. They have showed a lot of heart, and I mean they were. If that game gets to overtime, they probably beat Clemson. But it kind of worked out good because that means Alabama didn't make it. Because if Clemson would have lost, Alabama probably would have made it. Yeah. And I like that kid, the quarterback. He's a legend here in Dallas.
Jennings.
Yeah, Jennings. He won. He was his senior year. South Oak Cliff was the first Texas ISD high school to win a state championship in like 50 years, and he was the quarterback. And now he's kind of built on this. He took over the spot from the 2-year starter, Preston Stone.
Yeah,
good player. So Jennings is going to make a lot of plays. I really want SMU to win, and Franklin's not good against ranked teams. But I just don't. I think the depth of Penn State and the road game, playing in the cold, I think Penn State finds a way. But I really like to see SMU win. And if Jennings can make plays that Penn State can't control, I will not be surprised at all. I'd love to see them. But I'm going to go with Penn State. So.
Well, like I know you didn't hear. I know you didn't hear my comment. You were babbling at the moment there, but the Penn State Oregon game, you said it was pretty close, and I was thinking that but that kind of gives you an idea of what I think about Oregon too, because I don't think Penn State's all that good. And we'll talk about Oregon next week, but I'm not real excited about Oregon either. But anyway, Kulik, what you got on this one?
Yeah, listen, Penn State, 2 losses, and both those losses were 1-score games, and both of those losses, those teams are in the playoffs. So I mean, yeah, Oregon, you could say you're not excited about Oregon, but they're undefeated. They're the number 1 seed. Penn State only lost to them by 1 score. They also put 37 points up against Oregon.
True.
So I just don't think SMU has. I mean, SMU is good, and they've got it. I don't think. I'm not going to say that it's going to be a blowout, but I actually would not be surprised if it was a blowout. In Penn State's favor. But I personally would. As far as my thoughts, I think Penn State's going to put up at least 30. So I would maybe go a 30-21 score to be conservative, I would say, in my opinion.
Yeah, SMU is a program they have a lot of money.
Yes, they do.
They now have winning, and they have a coach that I think he got just signed a new deal, and they've got a good young core. SMU is they're going to be very good for the next several years. I think they're a program that is going to continue to get better and better. And they may not be ready to go to Penn State this year, but they are going to be a team that.
It is exciting to see a team like SMU get a shot at the title.
Absolutely. I mean, and this year, there's really not you just can't. I don't see a great team this year. They all have some flaws, and when you just don't have that LSU 2019 or Bama 2020. You don't have anything team close like that. So wouldn't be shocked. There's a lot of teams that could do it.
Agreed. And moving into our last game of the evening, we've got number 10 seed Indiana against Notre Dame, which is a number 7 seed. What are you thinking there, Sooner?
Oh, I hope it's Indiana, and boy, that would be greatness for them to knock off. Indiana. They are for the whole. I think they have the most losses in the history of college football. And to have them, but we saw. Some people, and the portal and NIL things, it does have some issues, no doubt. But teams like Indiana, Colorado, Arizona State has allowed them to flip it within a year or two. I mean, Indiana was 3-9, and they brought like 13 guys from James Madison, and 10 of them start, and they were able to do it. Now, the only really good team they played, they lost, and I don't think they have enough up front to beat Notre Dame at Notre Dame. So I think the Irish win by about 10. I'm going to say like 30-20.
Yeah, agreed. What do you got, Kulik?
The Battle of Indiana. Love it. So we got South Bend. We got Indiana, the Indiana University of Indiana. We got Notre Dame. I said South Bend. I meant to say the University of Notre Dame. I have not bought in on Notre Dame all season. They've had some clutch wins, and maybe they earned their spot. But I just think Indiana's tough. I mean, they have a program. They have 1 loss, and that was a really big loss.
Correct.
But they do only have 1 loss, and I buy into their program. I think this is going to be definitely my upset of week 1.
Oh, it would be a big one.
Wow. And I do think that the eighth seeded Hoosiers are going to take down the 5th seeded Notre Dame.
Actually, it's and that's good. Did you say who you picked, Kevin? Go ahead.
No, I haven't
I'm
said
sorry,
it
the
yet.
10th seeded the
But
7. I'm talking about the rankings. I'm sorry. 10th
overall,
seeded Indiana.
yeah, I'm a Notre Dame guy in this game. I think Indiana. I think everything you said about Indiana is correct. I know that they're a tough squad, but when they went up against Ohio State and got manhandled by about 3 touchdowns, um, I got to think when they play another really good ranked team that they're gonna get their butt handed to them again. I don't know if they're ready for the big time just yet,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm thinking Notre Dame in this one. I'm thinking pretty handily, maybe like 28-10, something like that.
Yeah, and I know you didn't mean to come, but you had a good entry into just quickly on the seeding. I just like to hear what you guys think. I really don't think they got it right. I think I think Notre Dame should have been like the 5 and Penn State and like maybe Texas 6 and Penn State 7. I don't understand how. Then Tennessee for sure. I mean Tennessee or Ohio State. I just thought the seeding they did was just not right.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
It's like they didn't really factor in the championship games hardly at all.
No, they didn't. They really didn't. What do you think about the top 4 seeds? Do you think they got those right?
I said after Arizona State, I said they should jump Boise, but I really don't think Boise should be there. I think that possibly. I mean, I think Notre Dame deserved it better than Boise.
Uh-huh.
I don't think Boise was a good enough resume to be there. And then just how Arizona State played. I mean, I thought they would jump them. I did not think both of them would get there, though.
No, I hear you.
Do
you have any comments on that, Kulik?
Yeah, I do. I'm actually okay with as far as the teams that are in the playoffs. I'm okay with the seeding. I probably would have put Boise at number 4, make them play Oregon. But I do like them in the top 4 because come on, Ashton Gentry. And I'm sorry, I know it's finalized and the votes have been counted, but he's the true Heisman winner. And I don't see one one defense on this bracket that's going to slow him down. I just don't.
I hear you, but I got to jump in here. He played half the amount of snaps.
He did play half the amount of snaps. Is that why you're saying maybe not?
Yes.
Well, take this for consideration. Comparing Ashton's season to Ricky Williams' 1998 Heisman year. Ashton Gentry had 344 carries to Ricky Williams 364.
Before you go there, what team did Ricky Williams play for?
Texas.
What schedule did Ricky Williams play at Texas? Probably a little bit better. Probably a little bit better than the Boise schedule.
Big 12 schedule, yeah, for sure. I can see that.
Go ahead, continue.
Yeah, I can see that. But he beat Ricky Williams in rush TDs, rush yards, and yards per carry wasn't even really close. I know that it's schedule, and I know who Boise State's playing versus who Texas was playing in '98. But again, I see the differences, and I know that Travis Hunter is a once in a long time player where he's playing both sides, and he was top 10 in both sides. I don't know. Coming back, I guess to the playoffs, I don't see any of these defenses stopping him.
I agree.
I didn't. Great. They all are good players. I kind of would have liked to see Gentry get it, but Hunter was amazing. But I don't really take these voters because, I mean, when they didn't in 2021, when they didn't have the guy who threw for 6,000 yards and 60 touchdowns and 12 interceptions from Western Carolina, Bailey Zappa, in the top 10. He wasn't even in the top 10. I'm like, do they watch games? There's
Yeah.
no way that guy should have not at least been in the top 10.
The top 10.
That's a
Yeah.
good point.
And he wasn't. So after that, I mean, Hunter's amazing. I do wonder what the NFL, what they're going to, do you think he'll play more defense? Is he going to be offense? Will they use him some, I don't know. I mean, it's very rare to do both. I've never, in the NFL, I mean.
Yeah, I don't think in the NFL he's not Shohei Ohtani, okay? In the NFL, I don't think he's gonna do both. I think he's gonna come out and he's gonna be on your defense for you. I think that's where you'll find him.
And then
maybe on occasion, like on the occasional I don't know, wildcat situation or the occasional, hey, we need a wide receiver trick play or something. He'll be in there for that. Yeah. But I don't really see him playing. I don't think he's really big enough to play wide receiver.
I think he's just a package here and there. I think he may play a little bit more than just one or two takes, but I agree he won't be a full-time. He'll be a full-time.
No, that's not happening in the NFL.
He may be on the offense a little more than, they just have to see where.
But yeah, to bring it back, I do think Boise State belongs in the top 4. They deserve a first round bye.
Mm-hmm.
So did they get it all right? All the 4?
Like in order, or
I mean, the 4 that got the bye. Do you think those are the 4?
Yeah, I mean, Arizona State wins the Big 12, Oregon wins the Big 10,
right?
Georgia wins SEC. Yeah, I do, and then Boise State belongs in there. I probably would have put them at number 4, and probably Arizona State at number 3. But I do agree with all 4.
I just would have probably put Notre Dame instead of Boise, but the rest of it.
Everything looks good.
It'd have been cool to see the playoffs on the Smurf turf too.
Nah, it would. Well, all right, gentlemen. I think it's time for us to get on out of here. Good show this evening. We shall see what we shall see when the games are played this weekend, and we'll be back next week to give another rundown of the next set of games that are coming up, which will be very interesting, depending obviously upon who wins. But I think that all of the top 4 teams will have a big challenge regardless of who wins. So, All right, usual guys, on the way out, do we have any shout outs? Do we have anything that we want to celebrate? Go ahead, Mr. Suna, go ahead and start.
Well, it's been the best year, and the portal's been very rough, but it finally worked itself out. And OU did get the commitment from the number 1 rated portal guy, the quarterback from Washington State. So that's good. And the OU hoop team, hey, we're undefeated. And the SEC is, man, it looks really strong. And OU's playing Michigan here in just a minute, or I think it just started. So we'll see how they do. I'm going to watch that a little bit. So the OU basketball team, good. Porter, his seat is on fire, so he's got to do good. SEC is good, man.
Go ahead, Kulik, what do you got?
Well, I will keep my shout out in college sports, but I'm going to have to go college volleyball. Nebraska, number 1 seed in the Final Four. So those Lady Cornhuskers, man, they've got a big road ahead of them. Tomorrow they play number 1 Penn State, who they lost to at the end of the season. But I think it's going to be some nice payback on that, and going for those Lady Huskers to win the national championship.
Is it the Final Four this weekend?
Yes, it is.
Tomorrow. Yep.
Tomorrow.
We got Pittsburgh versus Louisville and Penn State versus Nebraska.
Wow. Didn't they do like a volleyball game at the football stadium?
They did, and it's actually holds the record for the largest women's sporting event world history.
92,000, I believe, something like that.
Yeah, something right around there. Yep.
Was that like this fall, early fall?
Oh, that was last year, actually.
Okay, I remember this.
Yep,
that was last year. Yeah. Cool. Well, I'm with you on the Nebraska team, volleyball team. My wife, as you know, loves her some Cornhusker stuff, and that's going good for her. But I want to shout out to my Cougs who are playing tonight. They're playing Toledo tonight. They lost 3 tough games earlier in the season, which is good for them. They typically go about 25-0 and then get into league play and lose 1 or 2. But this time they chose to play a couple of really good teams. Auburn, who's ranked ahead of them, and they did lose. But hey, what are you going to do? But they're looking good now. I think they've got the ship righted, and hopefully we will make it all the way to the Final Four this year of men's basketball. So that's my shout out, guys. Hey, look, thanks for hanging with us tonight. We will talk with everybody later. We'll talk next week after the playoff games are played. Have a good night, peeps. We'll see you later.
Enjoy the
See you
game.
later.